Pretty sweet. Try to make the flow from the top into the bottom apparent in the broken one, while having some other cool shaligrams around. Okay. I was thinking of recording, and then we're streaming. I was like, do I stream? For reasons in my body. And then I decided not to. And then I started looking at them some more. And, if not for people that I feel are listening, or actually listening, I would probably not be streaming right now. It's like, I should share some cool stuff. Like this. I didn't really mean to start here. Issue. Hooray! New issues are awesome. Doesn't get any better. People are like, yo, man. What you think is gonna get better? You better fucking get on it somehow. God damn, I tried. Kinda. Oh, the pain. Back, my body, my shoulders. I'm like, too late. Now I done messed it up worse. Oh, I should have just held still the rest of my days, but no. Okay, anyway. Maybe I'll open up some. There's that. Like this. I guess I now have a third monitor as a test run to see how I like it. It's not helping having a sore neck. Unrelated to it, I'm just like, dear God. I'm a wreck. I'm a wreck. So I'm looking for something that maybe, if you guys have seen enough Shaligram videos that I talk about shapes, specific shapes, maybe this specific shape has other curiosities than just like the ammonite inside of a matrix, I guess. Because it occurred to me This looked a lot like something, like the whole of it, something I've talked about recently. Let's see. It's probably on a Twitter post. I don't even know where I've been documenting things. It's certainly anywhere. Any Shaligram that has this feature would do. But I talked about it somewhere. This is worth bringing up. Whoa. Sarosh Das on YouTube. Sorry guys, not the best start once we got started. Just kinda hanging out. This camera's maybe even a little high. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. So much better now. Dude, my back. I'm gonna bring this back up. I was almost gonna chill, like a total chill stream. Like, oh. See if this helps. Oh man. Let's sit here like this. Okay, so this is maybe an interesting one to bring up too. It's not even clear, like, is this a chakra? Like, here's a chakra, and then the opening. Here's what, if we just saw this, and like that right across here and up, it looks kind of like right across here and up. But below it, it looks much more like one of those tubes. No, I forgot that I did not have this attached. Namaste. Ame tofu. Happened the other day and it kind of went away and I fucking did too much today. So at least I know I can kind of like rest it away if I don't fucking injure it. Anyway, so I should probably open up Photoshop, honestly. Probably. We straight chilling here. You know what those lids are. might not make sense, but damn. Just take a gander. Anyway. Okay, so let's say text. Okay, on the nature of current propagations. Let's just say a current is propagating. There it is. And runs into some resistance and does stuff. So I guess we can draw some part of my, like, whatever's going on here. Resistance. Something resistant. That the current cannot flow through, at least not easily, and so as to prevent its flow. And essentially, it does interesting things. So, for example, it can get caught inside of pressure where there's exterior pressure. That a current finds its way into, whether or not exactly like that, and swirls. But then it, like, pushes the boundaries. We've talked about this before, where it pushes the boundaries of this larger pressure. So basically, it before I change color, it then has an outward pressure. That as it pushes the boundaries, it can lead to not just a circle, but instead it can lead to a crinkle, where it does like that, but then generally is a circle like this, where the internal current is essentially running into itself as it swirls around the edge. it's running into itself. Like the pressure. And pinching basically to go down instead of up because of the pressure around, so it leads to like this bump, but it also leads to a tendency to eddy through like that, or also to go through around this way and then around this way, and to thereby create these features that, instead of being like swirls like this, are more so like that, where they have a little tab out and then a cavity that then has a protruding nub that like goes as far up as it can, sometimes outside of the hole even. As a product of this. So like that's one of the things I generally forgot. Yeah. So we're seeing that here, where there's not just in the ammonite case, there's more of a cohesive actual eddy that's around a central point that creates the actual ammonite shape. But in a shape like this, it's more so creating a current like this that's like crossing through here and wrapping around, essentially to elongate, because the pressure reaches a pressure balance with the exterior, so it can't push out further, but it needs more like circumference, so it elongates by creating it internally. Some reason exactly. It's probably important in some atomic way that I don't feel like thinking about right now. Although I would really like to figure out those kinds of connections that are certainly there between these things. But so, in this case, it looks almost like a large scale like it happened. Like this shape, if you could cut this shape out right here by having a current flow taking the boundary shape and physically remove a chunk that maybe goes all the way in like a tube, but maybe just like a piece of it, right? This piece here, like one piece of it. And if you then looked at it, it would look kind of like that, where it had like a dube, kind of shape. Possibly even a bit of an apple shape, where it has like a counter chakra. That's what I feel like is going on here. Like, it's not just that there's an ammonite there. It's that this ammonite, curiously, formed in like the formation of something of this nature. One of these like drill currents that just drills through and then removes layers. Let me see. Like this. Protrusion. Rounded surrounding. But if there could be a chunk in there removed, now imagine then that how this happens is like if this here, the flat face here, were to actually be like this angle right here, like sideways, a current flows into the flat face and it creates this. It's generally going to have not just a flow like this, but it's going to have also more of a like corkscrew flow in that like apple kind of shape that is propagating at least some distance into the shaligram like that, and then cutting into it. And not necessarily having an internal current in this area. It can be like the eye of the storm. Like this area can all be solid, where the current erodes around it and cuts it out and extracts it from the like host matrix that is like seeding these things when these currents pass through. Where one of them was so large scale that its current did so in a larger scale way, where the piece that it eroded out like that is this. And not only did it erode it out, but it put current into the stone that then created an internal eddy that then led to this internal ammonite structure in the stone, so that the shape of the outside is integral to the final formation of this ammonite as like a actual relationship between the two. I feel like that's going on here. If we look at the backside, can you even see almost like where the current is like dropping down, like it's flowing in up high here and dropping down around here and then running into here, into the stone where it physically eddies, literally internally gets in that way and cuts into the stone and eddies into the matrix material that is like malleable, is not solid, it's not so coalesced when this current passes through that it can't be shaped into this final form. So then the current passes through it. Like this. But here. So it's coming in off of this side and dropping down and around, and basically in pressure of some like column of pressure. That's allowing a general propagation of a current through, but mainly like along its boundaries, with a general propagation that is going like this. Oops. Etc. Down and in until it reaches here, which I guess we can just kind of connect it, let's say there. And then it is flowing like on the upper portion here around some general center area here and around it, shaping the rock but being pushed downward, so then starting to cut into this area more, where then as it physically rotates in this column, that this pressure is also like along the face towards us as well, pushing in there, and the opposing face like back here, just holding the boundaries as this eddy generally propagates through a matrix. And then it goes down and in right here. Kind of reminiscent of that swirling, the one that's in the back right now. Coming forward, it is now on the right side. So we see this ammonite. See this ammonite, we see this ammonite, we turn, and what do we see? This pressure point where a physical drilling of current is evident in the stone that cut in the backside. That just was a flow of current that ran into resistance of the stone's material generally, and curved the backside by the resistance, but also propagated through it and fanned out, creating this ammonite structure internally in the structure that then became what we see, basically. But by a current passing through the backside, where here too, a current would have been propagated, and not through it, like this side, but actually through the back side, so that what we're looking at when we look at the ammonite is where the flow came outward as it generally propagated through. Can see some current paths over here that are not quite the ammonite structure, although if the ammonite would have formed larger, like that's what's happening. It's beginning to form additional layers. It just doesn't have the material, the energy, etc. So it doesn't. That shape. Okay. Let's see if I can find this one. This one, dudes, is so epic. For what we're talking about specifically, it's really nice. So it's got the ammonite here. And then it's got another, like, imprint. I think we might have mentioned this previously. I've been looking at it still. I might have talked about it before, but I don't think so. No. It's been a while. I think I've just been meaning to record because of this Shaligram for like days. So we're finally even seeing it. So what is it about this Shaligram? So here's that opening. Here is here. Opening, so then above the opening, we can kind of see on the left side of the opening over here. Above it is this kind of wiggle thing, just for a reference point, that leads back to the chakra. Back here. That's just generally there. So we see that. is pointing generally to over around here. Just generally pointing over to the end of this ammonite opening. And then it appears from this angle that there's like generally this boundary to the stone that's there. Just noting it, there's another boundary there. That's when I see this one and this, it gives me the impression that it's making like pizza slices, i.e. chambers. So it could be creating like the chamber structures in the ammonite of the matrix up here, so that like this could have become part of a Shaligram's ammonite within the Shaligram, but instead it's the matrix of this ammonite, where like the boundary is here. The boundary is here of the ammonite. It doesn't go like up into this material that we're just looking at least not apparently. Also, some other features about it. We aren't really looking at the best side yet. The best side is the third picture. Just something I noticed, like there's down over, 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 down-ish, down-ish, like towards the chakra basically there. Then it's kind of going on here too. Maybe almost like a chakra highs and lows here going on. But so, like, where's the official, let's say, if you will, boundary of this ammonite shell? Like maybe here. Extending maybe out that way, and maybe we can say some signs like this looks kind of like a sign of a larger structure again. But it's like, then there's this. Okay. This is so incredible. So here's that crack, that line that off the left side that points to that boundary of the opening. There. This one that points to like over here. Basically like right there in that area. Maybe a little past it. Just generally the end of the opening structure here in this area. This points to. And then things I notice here, maybe I should bring this into Photoshop now. Whoa. How do I zoom? Fits. Oh, right back. So that line there. Goes there, and then interestingly, like it kind of goes towards the chakra, but it wraps and then starts to actually wrap around the chakra here to go like that. And then there seems to be a structure that goes across that way and then up this way. Like here. And over and up and maybe across through here, like there. As well as like that way too, whatever. But generally across that way, there. But then it has internally like different layers like here as well. Suggestive of a flow. My thought is going this way. That then swirls in an eddy around this chakra. Centered here-ish. Around this chakra. But it goes around it and creates an imprint on top of the surface. Because again, it had pressures where the flow was flowing. That then led to it creating an eddy, like kind of like that amazingness here, creating an eddy in the space that it had because it had pressures around it. So that when this structure basically had an eddy in it that seemingly I got it now. Okay. Seemingly was flowing in this side and then out this side as an eddy this way, where then it was going out through these pores, out through these pores, and then out through this whole region. But in an eddy, where then it re-emerged over here from this flow hitting here. So eddy flow, which is generally probably fed by a current flow into the surface here, like just this and like this stuff going on. Like maybe it went also up this way and not just here. Like some of it went this way. And that's common if you look at the Shaligram on the center with the current flow that eroded its center. That flow came off of the top of the Shaligram on the broken piece coming around the front now, on the right side of it, wrapped around the right side, and then down the back along the top, and then wrapped around the side to go around the side of it. We could probably find, let me see real quick if I can find it. Where's favorites? Oh yeah, there. Here we go. can see just how the current is. Or in this case, it went the other way, off of this side, here, and around this way, and around the back, and around the side of the Shaligram. So there's like a precedent, I guess, in this like current off of the back. It goes like that. That then when it comes over this way, it actually leads to this structure here in terms of boundaries where it came in. But then it ran into resistance. And basically deflected the current around some general boundary. Where it created an eddy here, where part of the eddy was essentially hitting, if like this right here, down this way, across here, down across this way. So it like flowed into this location particularly, it seems. As this eddy came off the front side, it flowed in there, but then it just wrapped around, went around here, went through here. But it went into here, seems to have maybe even created this like shape like this in this aspect. Where it probably eddied here somewhat to be why there's like a boundary like this. As like a drilling mechanism, trying to cut into the top of the Shaligram to create another ammonite structure by this eddy that's propagating in the matrix, and like looking for some where to go, basically. So then it drills in here, so we got a current. Where was that? Get this one in there too. What's up, dudes? I don't know. Okay. So it's add layer. Did I already do this one? No. Okay. I did it in the clip the thing, I guess. So generally, like, let's just go like that. And then this kind of maybe some central region that it's like eddying around from this one. Like if this one's current were to just like eddy on the top, it would create a structure maybe around here that then would eddy, like create chambers like going more this way into the top of the stone to make a ammonite that looks more like why did I not find? They're so standard, pretty much. I guess this is fine. Just having like a boundary with the whole top segmented, I guess. Anyway, point is, instead, the current went seemingly this way, but in a way where it wanted to go this way, but it seemed to be held like to a boundary over here. Maybe? Yeah. Like it couldn't go right of that because this ended up eddying back this way and like pushing that way as a result, leading to this current having a boundary here from this eddy forming. What the fuck is happening? Cheers to that. Drink some coffee. So it leads to this boundary. Okay, goes this way. We even see these things are pretty common to happen along the edges of shaligrams of ammonites that are just like partly forming, just beginning to form some kind of sign that it was like having an eddy. It will have like little pockets one after another like that. Reflective of like the chambers to come, maybe even being like the seeds of the chamber as like some boundary of the chamber, and then another boundary of the next chamber, boundary of the next chamber, about that like forms starting like this and expands actually far more into a more intricate structure of the entirety of a boundary of a chamber with all of its suture pattern intricacies. So starting low from something like this where it just has like a subtle low chamber, and then in terms of like cross-sectionally that way, like looking more so though at this angle here. So okay, let's go back to this. This one is so incredible. So it's got this current drilling in here. What's it doing? It's not able to get in. It's like, shit, I can't get in. I can't get in. Like, it's not cutting under. And getting in. So it seems to have instead, like, found an exit path this way underneath of it. So this eddy is like atop the stone. So then it goes, exits this eddy over here, This current would also like wrap around on top of the stone, on top of this eddy, supporting it. That has current kind of flowing into it as an eddy, but then draining into the stone, in part at least, through this channel that runs that way and subtly continues across this way, as well as even across there, as this boundary between like these two halves, where there's like a seemingly clear like striation to this half that doesn't seem as present here. In this material that then has this kind of fanning out element to it here. Oops. Where it fans out. Mind you, then it creates this weird element. This weird thing is happening here. That I would request a modern scientist to actually elaborate how this makes any sense for a fossil to do, where it isn't like if we saw this anywhere else, it's an imprint. Let me give you an example. Shaligram Kendra. Whoa, wow. Okay. Let me find it. It's in here pretty soon. I saw it, I just didn't want to give it away. Ammonite? Imprint of an ammonite. Like, is there an ammonite in here too that's like part of this? Even though there's a boundary there, that's a little odd. Isn't it odd that this ammonite has this structure that's kind of angled, if you ask me? Thank you for asking me. That's so kind of you to ask me. That's a perfect opportunity to not ask me, but since you asked me, right? Well, is actually angled like this way. That is the angle of that imprint down there that maybe actually interacts with this internal structure in ways like it looks almost to go like this way and then this way in the top there. I don't know. But this is anomalously bent. But if we just like the angle of it, it's clearly this chakra's ammonite though. Like it's not clear in the rest, and then this, notice its angle as we turn. So it's kind of like this way, like that angle. Like it's even like pretty much right across. So this eddy is swirling on the left side here in this area. That seems to have led to a current flow that maybe went like this way, basically. Down over, 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 and then past some area, and then down, and also maybe just across, generally, like more along like a balanced central point there, where it's just kind of spraying directly, more just a spray, direct spray. That then went out this way. But probably eddied this way like this. And like push these boundaries of this material being eroded to be like without the shale. Where it like flowed off of this, up this way, back around, past it, and into like crevices here, basically. As well as generally continuing like this way, and up this way probably, and maybe even pushing across the initial current that way, there, to try to etch out like a ammonite here, like a three-dimensional structure now, in underneath it though, with like a chakra here, two chakras right here, lobe here, that's like chambers back this way, second lobe out this way, all from though this current that is running into general resistance and eddying on top of the stone, where there's also pressure generally down, so that this current just has nowhere to go but into the stone, but it does so in an eddy manner like this, where it goes this way around into the stone. What can goes above and just stays there as an eddy, while what hits here then propagates out this way. Some probably goes this way too, out that way, but most of it seems to go this way. And it seems to take advantage of something that's very interesting. This feature here tends to happen in the bottom of like a chamber structure in shaligrams, like here. Here's one doing it. This cut. It's not the actual boundary of the structure all the time. Let me see. Well, I might as well. Forgot what I'm looking for. Oh yeah, nope, I remember. slices in the ammonite imprint. Whoa. I guess like this, like there, where it's an actual slice, where it cuts this portion. So like a general current propagates somewhere, let's say here, into the stone. That's a focal point, at least. The focal point is around some point. That then leads to a eddy on the surface that starts to cut into the stone, that then elongates and changes the plane in which it eddies, initially eddying on the stone, like an eddy on the stone like this. But then it starts to get into the stone, where then it eddies like in the crevice of the stone. Like here's a, it has carved a crevice in the stone. It then eddies in the stone like this, like sideways, which then leads to a chakra between it, like that. Once it initially carves out enough of a space, and then that can begin to expand sideways, like cut into the stone and create the next tier outward of this eddy, like this. And then runs into weird pressures here that like bend it, so it doesn't go like this way. It bends and bends some more, goes down there, and then up this way. Where it filled the pressure here. As this current flow in continues, in flows the current. And it's like, I can't handle it anymore. I have to grow to have another lobe. I can't handle it. Grows larger and cuts. And I can't handle it. Cuts. Need more space. And cuts until the matrix in which the cut is occurring is exceeded by that cut, and it actually cuts outside of it along the boundary, not just like within the space of this like eddy, and maybe like venting here, but coming back in over here. So it's not really exhausting the current until it can exhaust it through vents that it etches in the side, that like the structure is no longer, it's over, runs into other currents. Like there's not such an overwhelming current that it's actually created a lobe here. So it actually vents the current And then the structure as a whole no longer grows, and it has reached like a general final like resting structure. So it was kind of doing that here, but it's like when it does it, I was trying to find the picture. A picture. There's so many, like this kind of picture, but where it has a cut. And let's go down. Even if this you can see it. There's another one with a abnormal ammonite on the side here. Talked about in a previous episode, pretty in depth, that one. I don't see it in there. I was thinking we might be able to see the cut in there. Take a gander at that one. Where the actual chamber structure of something. Which one is that? Is that this one? I guess so. Wow. Incredible. Oh my God. It is so many things at once. This. Like, kind of like a tail. That has this chamber, and then another chamber, and then another chamber, it seems to go in, but it is also like blurry, so like maybe here and maybe here, let's say. So if we were to be like focusing our attention on these chakras here, we've got this chakra here, we've got this chakra here. And then that's crazy, the colors look like legitimately different. Wow. Oh, it's so Shaligram. Dude. Dude's fucking retarded. But like this looks kind of like, let me see if I can find a good example. I actually know where to find something like this. This. Maybe like this, where it's kind of doing like sideways chambers, maybe. Like that. So it kind of looks like it's doing that here. From this one into this area. Because, like, it's not doing this to do this. It looks kind of related to that one, is my point. But it also, I guess, the same structure here. Also seems to have another boundary that goes out further here and then kind of goes this way and then runs to about here where it basically is this boundary. And then kind of meets itself over here. Making it part of this larger structure as well. So it's like an interaction of the two, I would say, where there's two eddies. One eddy is in one plane here with its center, like eye of the hurricane here. The other is in a different plane and they are interacting. And they are actually having like these flows over here. When they go to here, they seem to like participate that way and like maybe like possibly, I was thinking the direction is like generally the direction they would be if we could see them at that moment in all of this like chaos of disarray in this area. Of course I can't undo what I just did by pressing it too much. Sorry guys. Incredible. And that's just like but again, my initial point was, is this even the outside of an ammonite? But like it's clearly there's another ammonite there, so the shell would have been bounded by it. Why does this ammonite even have the capacity to physically occupy the same space? Like if there's one in here, how does its shell occupy the same space as this shell that occupied this space? Perfectly like this. Like they are abutting one another, and not at the boundary, but like near their centers. Crazy. Okay. Let's go back to this. So that's incredible. It's forming one of the cuts from this ammonite that may or may not, let's say an ammonite was there in the initial Shaligram matrix. There was a ammonite shell. Then it would have had to extend lower, presumably, based on this thing here. Like, that's generally how it goes. Where these types of cuts are related to extending lobes. But the lobe doesn't extend appropriately. Like, here's the chakra. So if there's this cut here, there's the chakra. Chakra. That just generally means it has a spiral out from it. That sometimes can form these cuts in the structure. That in this case is relatively linear, but let's say underneath here, dot 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 dot, underneath here, there's a cut that is not visible. That just wraps around generally in a spiral setting in some manner to somewhere that is just not visible enough to see it, to make it out. If that's the case, then it should form a lobe out like this way. Like on taking this portion of material relative to the chakra and forming like a larger lobe like that in the matrix, right? In the whatever, because it's an actual seashell. Like if it has that feature, it should have a larger feature of that nature, seemingly. If it is that, if it's not that, this thing. So we say, okay, it can't be that then because it goes this way. Then what is going on? That's the thing. What then is going on? That's right, I can close those. Like, let's say three. Down here, just as in this area, we see these little ribs. See all these ribs? Down here, we can see ribs. We're gonna go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But then here, they seemingly go up this way to up here. So these ribs are in some ammonite-esque structure having ribs in them that are here. That just kind of fade over into this area, into who knows what exactly is going on beyond that internally. Interestingly, this area is probably much more porous, maybe more like X-rayable, if you will. So it has that feature, suggestive of an ammonite. It has this kind of feature over here again. And then it has like the chakra with the second lobe over here. Interesting. Interesting. So the current came from above, went down to Earth, if you will. While staying above, eddying, holding pressure in like a higher layer. Oh, whoa. But this ran into resistance. And a current propagated this way that then passed the pressures of this inlet current region where the flow is coming from. I know this is all one colory a bit. Where then it fanned out into a second lobe, but then started to reach like exterior pressures where only the strongest currents could make it, like the central current, where the rest of it and generally became a lobe by going out from maybe this way actually too, and kind of going this way. As well as like going the opposite around and this way. I feel like kind of creating even like the beginning of like a dendrite where it's like dense, whereas over here is like eroded dendrite, where this over time could create a structure more like I guess any of these, like dendrite. Some of them will have little pockets left in here of some other material that's not just a void between the dendrites. So essentially, current passes through, erodes out the material, but it does so sequentially, where the starting material is all generally matrix, and then it removes shale, the fine-grained particles, which then allows more current flow through. So then it removes larger grained particles until it has just like a pyrite and quartz kind of material left in a lot of locations, and then it removes even those kinds of things by removing actual large chunks that then sometimes are so large that they themselves are shaligrams in these currents that were happening that shape these. And then having eroded sections there, and then less eroded like dendrite. So over time this would become the dendrite, And then a little pocket where the current went through. Pocket where the current went through in this more coalesced ammonite structure. That could have happened if it weren't for the dominant reality that there was this entire other system in the stone of an eddy over here that was really the dominant eddy in this stone's space. Was this eddy here that was then fueling the other eddy. This eddy that was then fueling this third eddy. That was then, I guess, had a current going that way. Hard to say. There's only those 3 images. It's like somewhere over here, maybe. So maybe it even like relates back to this ammonite again, where the side current ends up projecting towards as like a completing the circuit kind of thing, where it was energetically favorable for the current to go, so it like becomes the next like segment, kind of like here, going down and over. Just based on the way this is. What? Oh. Like it's very abruptly down this way. And like there's a change here, almost like an energetic change is happening, where this structure was having like a branch off this way, where it would have a larger lobe forming like energetically. I don't know. But then like that wrapping around the other side, sort of like creating a structure, maybe not all the way to there. This section to like there, maybe is to here. So like energetically relating to this Shaligram's ammonite. Like, alright, this dominant ammonite. Oh, sorry guys if I am mumbly. Oh. Okay, at least my back doesn't feel like fucking needles and highly concerning. I mean, it's certainly highly concerning, but at least it doesn't feel that way. You know? I've been eating these edibles like they are freaking candy. I don't know if they work. I don't know if they work. And they're not bad. They work for sure. It's just a little... Like I could just eat them non-stop and not be like needing to lay down. And some edibles have knocked me out, where I gotta be careful. Not a bad thing. I kind of enjoy it. Just chowing down. Fucking delicious. I think this is so incredible. Like, this chakra almost looks like if I go like the blah, blah, blah. That's weird. What the? Weird. Weird. That's freaking huge. Really hoping not to change that, but it was freaking huge. I really don't want to take. Okay. Like a chakra itself that, like, instead of being there, like, energetically, it's shifting down here. It looks like it's got that kind of energy to it. Just kind of relating it to over here. Which would make sense if this current could not get through very easily here, so instead it had to more so go down. Crazy. Oh, it's whatever is going on here. I don't like, what the hell is background color? Whatever. So basically going down and then leading to an outward propagation. Maybe if I go like this. Ha. Yeah. But it's just not doing that, but it's just like having some need to do something with the energy, so it's just like forming eddies any which way it can. While not disturbing at least the boundaries. This ammonite. The main ammonite is generally undisturbed. Although I would like to see it more than this, and I might see to it that I can. It is actually worth it, totally. I just feel like an addict. And I know it's not, I know it's very frowned upon. And I also am like, I got, like, what am I spending money on? Fuck. It's not like I'm making money from it. It's like an investment. Mom, it's an investment, Ma. Ma. we've made investment. Yeah, worth more than gold. Trillions times. Priceless. They are priceless. That's why they shouldn't be bought or sold. And anyway. It's incredible. I know I got my filth over top. It also has this little inlet hole. I find this on chakras, and this one is large, and it actually made me think this was maybe like a thing. When I saw this large hole, I was like, that's kind of big for this chakra. Because it's in almost a different plane. Like, this chakra is in, like, this plane or whatever. I don't know if that makes sense. But then this chakra is maybe more... I guess like a cross. While there is still like this going on, very crucially, like right here, a chakra forming. All the way over this way. So chakra. And then kind of like this bowl. Underneath it, where the chakras are like not just on top of, like this down is into, like the chakra would be forming into it like these. Where did it go? There it is. Like starting to etch into this more and more. Oops. Like this here, etching in, and here, like deeper and deeper, but not so much in certain areas, that then leads to something more chakra-like. But happening extremely anomalously, where it is fueled clearly by this current flow over here that flows in here and eddies around, maybe even this point too, like an eddy here. eddies around the chakra, creates the structure as currents did in all ammonites. And then gets trapped in this circumstance still and flows out this way with this jet stream out. I feel like I had a deep thought about. Let's move on from this. I could talk about this Shaligram forever. Oh. Pen sitting on the thing, so it just keeps moving back. I wasn't even moving the pen. This thing is awesome. I don't know if I could easily find an example, so I won't look. Let's see what we got here. So we talked about the Apple one a little bit. I didn't mention, just in passing, I will go back through this real quick. There's some subtleties in here, like chambers in the shapes, like chamber boundaries, and the way the structure is beyond the ammonite, that are just like forming but not formed, but just like the presence of the currents overall are there, that led to this like structural integrity difference. There's even like ribs like that going around, kind of like that, just less frequent. This is the only image of this one. It's from Mangalum Jewelry. I was sent it, but now that I've posted, now it's here. I guess I'll talk about it. I guess I just, it's just got a lot of visually circular things. Like I can almost see pixel here, pixel here, pixel here, pixel here, like wrapping around. And doing just curious things. It almost looks like a Sistine Chapel or something. I don't know if that's like the ceiling of those types of places. With all those, like, the ones with a bunch of like small children or something. Maybe angels all like at 'em. Not just one though. Wow, it is so cool looking. Oh my god. And this looks like almost like a bird, man. Like a beak. And it's all red and a flame next to the surrounding. Crazy. Just one like center there, another center here, another center here, another center there, another center there, another center there, another center there. But then like there's interactions of them that seem to be there, like this. If we kind of wrap this around this way, There's this little detail there. Like around, like wrap it around here and around here. Around here, around here, around here. Generally around here. Around here, around here. Back to there. I mean, looking at here, there's like a generally circular thing going on here as well, where maybe there's like a center, is what I'm getting at, where the boundaries of these are a function of some eddy center that was centered on around here-ish, that then interacted in all these areas. Freaking solar system. I'm just like contemplating. Over here seems to be a source of the eddy. Like a current flow comes in here and generally doesn't impact this region directly. Instead goes off of the stone this way, maybe. But into pressure that then causes it to eddy, but it eddies not just by like along the surface, it actually, because it goes off the surface, it goes back and then into the surface. So it kind of eddies by going around this area here as like a place where the current catches as it eddies here. And by this going out around the center and back and into the stone again. Which then maybe leads to like pressure. Like imagine currents flowing this way through this region. Some of it goes in there and interacts in there. But it leaves the surface of the stone here after arriving on the surface over here. It leaves the surface here, goes around here, and it hits in this area to fill this area with various eddy formations that, like, maybe there's a shock right here. It's hard to say, but fills it with current that is like structurally forming some actual fossil that then rigidly holds that space, and that leads to a back current branch off over here, which then leads to another like eddy space here, which then leads to another branch off, leading to another eddy space here. So that as this current goes around, it then fuels these chamber formations around the outside of this ammonite that, I guess, if in a contained matrix, would be more likely to have formed coalesced as a single ammonite. Like it wasn't covered. It did it into the surface of the stone. And then I guess some of the current went around, specifically around, though, this. Like it formed this structure, and this structure, but it went around this way and interacted with basically pressure, I guess, of this general current. Put it in there. Then eddied in here too. Maybe went in here. In this general area. But then got back and in this way and came out a larger opening over here. While then branching back that way, I guess, to create the next chamber that way. And then running into that resistance, so generally propagating this way, interacting here, so that there's a chakra here and here that has like even a lobe out that way. And out this way, like a peanut type thing going on there. With like chakra, but this chakra here is actually kind of circular. Like that. Oops. Like that. Especially see it there anomalously. Like if the chakras are this way, which it seems to be, because if we go like this, you can really see a pretty high definition that it continues that way and it goes this way and around and kind of just dot like that. And back here, having like that typical like lobe thing, and then the chakra like mounds, typical mound of the chakra. But when we like take it out of that context and just look at this area, like it completely has this nature to it. I guess other boundary over there. Very strange. Also noticing like there's a bunch of striations generally this way, if I can draw that direction. But then between this and over here, like the grains are like simultaneously with like, I can't do it well, but something relating to this chakra region as well. I'm freaking tired, dudes. Let's see. I could go on for hours and hours. This is incredible. Here's one, like the little teeth on it. Opening with that standard thing, but curiously with this sharp and distinct divide in the rock. Where on the other side is another eddy center, where this one eddied into the stone and just didn't like shift its flow, so it just stayed like that. Where this one over here shifted its flow and became a different eddy center, and then they interacted with one another, and a boundary was here, and other currents perhaps are present, but leading to a actual boundary in the stone there by the current flow interactions. There's the other eddy, which has this to me is quite interesting. Like, what? It looks like it comes like right off of this, across, and it kind of ramps up with that in the back though, and then up. Wow. This one, I'm wondering if like this thickness is not apparent in this image. Not apparent in this image. Nope. Wow. But I was thinking that maybe to do this, like a current, I haven't actually thought about it. So let's just look at the details first. I was gonna say some things, but I'm like, wait, I don't actually feel that confident about enough to even bother. So I won't even bother right now. It'd just be pointless. About like how the current might have interacted in there, but I wasn't really accounting for things. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, it's this one. This seems to have like a chakra thing going on too. This way, some reason. I don't know, just subtly. I mean, that strongly suggests then the current was flowing that way, internally, Like this was a outlet area. Which means it was flowing behind the side. And then back in front this way. Internally, I'm freaking tired. Why am I stopping on this one? Let's keep going. There's that one. There's so many. I'm gonna stop on them all if I... This one's also incredible. I really wanted to talk about so many of these. Like, these features are so... like a roller. They look like a roller. Big notches. Little notches. Big notch, little notch. Big notch, little notch. Big notch. And internally here, there seem to be little things across, like just kind of here, this area. So like across this way, here, but then over here, then across here, over here. Generally doing like things like this, but then like fan out though and like fill areas from it. It seems, I don't know. Like and then there's certainly like a center here, another boundary there, and that it looks very much like the boundary of an ammonite right there. Kind of shape. So it seems to have been forming like a structure of an ammonite on top of this other ammonite here that then seems to run into some boundary over here. Like it's going this way and it runs into this one. So like another ammonite type structure is here. Like that then kind of goes this way. As this segment here until it runs out over here is almost like the helmet. Like what? An incredible Shaligram. Oh my god. Oh my god. Get these things. This one. This hard boundary here. Boop. And then this with a little boundary, like a smaller boundary, and then another one. Another one, just a bunch of little like scoops almost. From here over here, and then around here to another hard boundary. It's relatively counter to that. Around here, with like a subtle boundary there, where this one goes to specifically right to about there, and then this is like an internal mound, kind of like this one here. And instead seems to go around. Almost like it was initially starting this thing over here and restabilized. Like this is it like skidding out to a new pole orientation or whatever. However exactly like this divot ends up being as it like drills. Where it shifted over here and inward. Pretty quickly, but not without leaving behind subtleties of the process. Let's see if that's possible in this. Like this to me is an abrupt catch. Oh like it's eroding. It goes around, it creates the nucleus. Like it's generally eddying here. Let's do this. Let's say it's just generally eddying here. Generally, and it starts to get more compacted. So let me just finish that, I guess. Across here. And it starts to get more compacted to a point where it flows, instead of going across this way, it goes down and around and then up and across this way. So it's doing that. It's doing those things. It's doing the things. But then it runs into this part where it starts to cut this segment, like around here, and around here, around here, around here, around here. And what's it do next, like around here? It just keeps going with no like change in the structure as it goes around, but instead it runs into this hard resistance. Nope. Not right here. You're gonna have to go in. So it goes in, and then the general pressure from this current that's going around this segment pushes it in at the next portion immediately. Around, and just like kind of does this thing. Maybe it does like a weird like this. Trying to decipher Like for some reason, this hard boundary and this subtler hard counter boundary are also generally near the center or higher, or even the starting point of this across, in terms of across had its greatest, where it's pointing, I guess. I don't know where this is pointing. Maybe it actually ended up doing this way and down and this way, running into that resistance and going across and this way and this way and this way, while also going down here and then across this way, down, and those things. I don't know, this is very strange. It seems very mathematical. It's not random, and it's not fossil. This part would be a fossil, but all of the nuance, some of it is beyond the typical boundaries of what this would be. Oh damn, I smoked too much. Oh shit, I really gotta get to bed. Sorry, Jack. See the eddies here, eddy here, eddy there, eddy maybe there, eddy everywhere. Here's that one. Lots of cool stuff. I should go to bed. Okay. This one's crazy. I almost see a current flowing into the stone that then, as it approaches the stone, divides into two separate but generally equal currents. So here's the stone face. And the currents are the current singular is flowing towards it and approaching the resistance. And it's there's something up here. So it just divides. is it like actually divides and goes two separate ways. So it like avoids this region. But then it runs into resistance over here. And just 10 and over here and over here. So it's like contained. Where then it flows in this area. Leading to like a compression region, I guess. Where it like pushes material to and compresses material into the pores of, I guess. That it removed from here, like super saturates it. Interesting. And then another one. And then those then probably would reconnect. And an eddy would form chakras here. With the lobes and lobes. So in this case, we've got quite the odd, abnormal ammonite formation process happening, where it's just two little circles things. It's so crazy. Looks like it's just filled with quartz. I was like, would I need this? Why would I need this? Because I'm streaming and stream and talk about it. Oh, I did that close. Oh, I need to close these tabs. It's out of control. Divide there. This one is so just beautiful. Like the way the matrix is. I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. Like little chambers forming. Add like a nucleus center. And then its boundary going down here, even though like the larger ammonite's there. Then there's another, like there's two ammonites clearly, but what is going on with these? They look almost interactive. Like what is going on? How far would this one go? And why does this one look kind of straightening out here? Like imagine this wrapping around radially this way. This wrapping around. Like this basically goes to the chakra of this one. To this chakra. Coming out of this matrix. Inside the matrix here, coming out of the matrix here, like flowering out of it, whereas this is just like in this little house. So, that makes me think of this one again. That's just passing on the left with its opening. Kind of that shape as well. Where it's got this ammonite here. But then on its backside, it's got this opening. Oh shit, it's gonna stop. I think I'm ready to stop it. Okay, I had to check. Okay. Backside there. Very reminiscent of just the contours here, including just like the arc. The actual arc from this surface's angle to this surface's angle is kind of arced. How that is arced. Point is, it seems as if a current actually went in here, created an eddy here, that then flowed into another region of the matrix, where it then like nucleated another site inside the matrix to create an eddy center there as well. And that eddy center then broke free of the matrix by the structure that it like seeded. Oh my god. So it's almost like it's taking the material and like removing it and remaking it somewhere else, where then it emerges out of the stone in this like kind of like super dense way, where like shaligrams aren't necessarily this way as much. Very eye-opening. Literally just seeded by a current within it all. At times, sometimes where this seeding is like usually goes unnoticed. But this flow, oh damn. Oh damn. Where the In the case of the one on the turntable, it's a single ammonite that formed where the entry point, it just goes in, and then an eddy formed within the stone, and then it exhausted on the opposite side of the stone. In this case, it formed an eddy within the stone, and then it exhausted to another region of the stone, which is a common thing for a current to do when it runs into resistance, is to form an eddy. So it must not have been able to get through the rest of the resistance of the stone. So it formed an eddy, and then it propagated into the stone and formed another eddy, but at a different eddy center, seated by the first eddy over here. But that, like, reaches its chakras and its structure. Oh my god. This Shaligram. And then there's like lines. Oh my god, this Shaligram. Oh, what a proof. I bet it, like, that inside here is quite curious. Is this right here, like, weirdly this way because of some interaction even with this? Like, that there's another eddy extending into its space. Chaining too. Really? Probably chaining to some other piece. Like, it has this crack looking hard boundary, which is very much like that other one that we saw that had like two. Like this. So it just had one of these that got more than just like defined. It actually eroded the stone entirely at a chakra point of like an eddy. So like maybe this gets in, and then an eddy forms. I almost feel like I can see a little circle there. Where this current is like getting into the resistance though. So it's not forming an eddy in a different plane yet. It's able to continue to propagate in a current that's just eddying as it goes. Doing that thing without changing the plane and eddying this way then after that. Internally. And thereby creating chakras like over here. Basically creating a structure like this at a boundary that then would be like this boundary that then erodes this like flattened surface where the connection once was with some other half or some other segment of this chain of just eddy after eddy after eddy that's forming in this matrix material that is then eroding into bits and pieces, some of them into individual structures by themselves that then have no signs of a larger matrix that they're from, some that do, like these that show there are these chains of them occurring. Wow, it makes me think like this is like the grains in some way. Some larger system. Oh my god. Oh, wow. Oh man. This doesn't make any sense from like a just time erosion coincidence kind of way. Like the waviness of it all. This boundary in the midst of it. Another boundary. These boundaries are kind of like teeth, like up, down, wavy, that then have essentially like an ammonite, like an ammonite shape in here with a matrix and a matrix with the boundary here and a boundary here, just not forming really, but we can kind of see it a little bit better here. Like ripples, looking almost like a heartbeat or something. Possibly here even being like the two lobes, like lobe here, chakras here, where a current flow is propagating through here. Oh my goodness. Just imagine a chakra so massive. And another chakra, wherever exactly, that like some fine, not just like the nucleus region that is like an ammonite type structure, but some fine internal structure is like this, the flow. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Just thinking like fractally in some way, where like this stone it is like a grain in some huge flow that maybe I'm not even drawing this well. Like the chakras aren't just like from one side to the other. Maybe they would be just like off the screen completely. And like this is one region of a larger region that is being influenced by currents, although it does have those ripples on both sides. And then this region that's kind of like another region that has a somewhat central circular looking thing going on. Suggestive is forming a ammonite there, but was just overwhelmed. Here's another one dividing, like down the middle, dividing here, dividing elsewhere probably. All sorts of divides happening in this one. By the energies. Why exactly here and so on? Don't know. It's got this curious little tab connecting the top and the bottom of the matrix around the ammonite. I'm gonna give them a rest. Give them a rest. They've been rotating for hours. Like, dude, could you stop? No one's paying attention to your stupid rotating turntable. They're honestly annoyed by it. They're like, could he just turn this stupid thing on? Oh my god. It's like, just fucking, dude, if anything is blocking the screen at this point, we saw it. It's good. It's too small to even see the detail. If I want to see the fucking detail, I'd look at the beginning. Wow. Brilliant. Now we'll stop fucking blocking the shit. Oh my god. These poor shaligrams getting rotated. Our cosmos. Our cosmos. Why does it do this thing? They all start calculating. We could have sworn gravity was constant. What the hell is happening? Why could this be? It's just this perpetual time of the turntables on and the shaligrams rotating. And the internal universe is no longer obeying. Okay. I'm just silly. Obeying gravity. Just etching boundary to create a larger, like, full-blown structure etch. Oh, wow. Dearest body, I should hear you now. Clearly, I'm like, oh, my back. It's like, yeah, bro. Do the things, including fucking rest. Oh, this one's so crazy. I'll just keep doing this. It like comes out this way with just layers, which it tends to do a lot of the time. Doing this layer thing. But then the layers just abruptly turn and layer in this way. It's almost like a knee. With little like teeth things going on. How is this a coincidence? How is this if this is a fossil? Modern science would say this is a fossil. This is a matrix. This is surrounding the fossil. So the fossil ends around here, perfectly nestled into this corner. Wow. It's almost like current flow. I don't want to think about it. It's just so inviting too with these little bars. Like how perfectly detailed and like relatively eternally stored in nature. Another one with an ammonite on the top where it like overflowed. Like there's an eddy here, or maybe it underflowed. I don't know. In this case, it looks kind of almost literally like a cenote waterfall kind of thing that then went down to the eddy here carved down into the stone, where then it created another eddy below this upper eddy that then became the internal chakras and so on. That seems to me more likely what happened than the vice versa path. I don't know. Then it has a hexagon up here going on and stuff going on. Flat face, some reason. Flat. Lots of cool features. It definitely has. Wow. 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 Holy shit, dude. Guys. Do you see how incredible? Right, okay, let's go around here. Go around here. There we go. I'll look at this real quick. So this here is going like around a boundary here. And part of these down here. This on here is like, these are wrapping up this way around this boundary. Kind of like I'm wrapping up, I guess, after this, I'm thinking. This is incredible. So essentially, there is a imprint type structure here, upon which this mass is, which is the space of a first ammonite, and then the second ammonite is down here, here. But so that's all. This is the first ammonite. Like these ribs here on the top, but then the second ammonite is over here, like this segment. Thereabouts, and then internally as well. But like this is like the mass, but like way more shaped and more material. In this case, it didn't have enough material as well, so like current flows coming out of here would have wrapped around, not hit the mass, went back to the center, and just not eroded anything. So it would have just left kind of something like this that was just not shaped, and just had like an undercurrent, creating this undercurrent structure. Whereas over here would actually have the mass forming into this structure, having ribs like this. But incredibly, right here, as it goes like this, it like transitions in the coolest way. Like kind of with like a chakra, I guess. And then abruptly we're into the upper imprint structures over here is what these are. Incredible. I could go on forever. We already talked about that one. Not today, but okay, not that one. I've definitely talked about this one before. It's incredible, the current paths internally, because this is broken open. Similar to how this was. Like there's frickin' chambers. Around like a center here. That then has another like lobe out further. With another chamber type thing. While these are all radially spoked out here. This thing is incredible. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. So I guess similar to the one we were looking at. This has a current flow come in, seemingly like generally this way. But my guess is actually maybe it ends up, even though this is like the opposite, the structure kind of suggests that it was stopped, but maybe like goes to the stoppage, around the stoppage, and through the stoppage. And that is more of like a limiter. I don't know. But just like that, some flow here needed to get out of some containment region that some high pressure was holding, that then ended up propagating over to this area where this chakra is, forming this thing, but also being the center of a larger eddy that was forming like chamber type structures imprinted into the stone here. Like that. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Appreciate it. I know it's